I shouldn't have. Your mic is on. It is on. Stop. Okay, I'll stop. Oh, look at your nails. It's cute. It looks like, well, mine needs to be done, but I like your nails. Thank you. You're so cute.
My daughter does it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she does a really good job.
Yeah, I like the color.
gel, so
No,
she
but the
does-
color is really like coming on you.
It was supposed to be like plum, and I guess it kind
It
of
is.
is,
It
but
is
it's more on
plum.
the burgundy side.
Yes, it's plum, honey. Yeah. 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 Mhm. Did you look it up? Yeah. Welcome and good evening, everybody. Today is Tuesday, January 6, 2026, and the time is 6 p.m.
Sorry, it's January 20th. My mistake.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, my bad. Then I'll start over again. Good evening and welcome, everyone. Today is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, and the time is 6 p.m. That's what happens when you're retired. The regular meeting of the following will come to order. The Victorville City Council and the same council sitting as the Victorville Library Board of Trustees. The Southern California Logistics Airport Authority, successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency, the city as a housing access assessor, Joint Powers Finance Authority, and the Victorville Water District. Madam Clerk, will you kindly call the roll?
Councilmember Godin.
Here.
Councilmember Irving.
Present.
Councilmember Mora.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman.
Here.
Mayor Becerra.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you very much. If you'd please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, invocation will be led by Pastor Paul Gostin with High Desert Church, and our pledge will be led by our Captain Jerry Davenport.
Thank you for having us. And even as I stand here, I look at the seal behind us, and I'm appreciative that the city says, "In God we trust," over our seal. So let me pray for us. We'll continue. Well, Father, we are thankful that you are the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and you reign over all agencies and people, from our federal government to our governor to this council. And I pray for the council before me, that they would lead with mercy and with justice, that they would make decisions that are grounded in your word, that they would be good stewards of the money that comes in through our taxes and grants, that they would use it to serve the people of Victorville, that they would create an environment here in this city that would foster unity, would foster growth, would foster a biblical worldview that would remind all of us of your kindness to us. Pray for the citizens, that they would continue to love one another, love their neighbors. I pray that they would be productive members of the city of Victorville, and that they would voice their opinions, but also, Lord, they would submit to the authorities that are over them. And even for our sheriffs and fire and first responders, that you would protect them as they protect our city and hold up the laws that are before us. And I pray for the wisdom tonight, that you would give the council and the members wisdom as they listen, as they make decisions for this city. And we ask these things in your great name. Amen.
Amen.
In the Pledge of Allegiance, place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we're going to move on to our special presentations. Public Entity Risk Management Authority Excellent in Risk Management Award. Mr. Metzler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I do believe we have a member from PERMA, Beth Lyons, there she is, Executive Director from PERMA, to speak to the award and present you the award that they have to bestow. So, Ms. Lyons, would you please come to the podium?
Thank you. Appreciate that. Good evening, Mayor Becerra, honorable council members, City Manager Metzler, city staff, and the community of Victorville. I'm Beth Lyons, Executive Director for the Public Entity Risk Management Authority, otherwise known as PIRMA. PIRMA is a member-directed self-insurance pool that the city belongs to, along with 31 other public entities in the state. The goal is to provide secure, stable, and cost-effective risk management and financial coverage programs for claims that might occur in the city. I'm here tonight to present the Excellence in Risk Management Award to the City of Victorville. The award includes a $2,500 grant to help the city continue its risk management efforts. The reason the city is receiving this award tonight is because it used some of its risk management funds as well as some of its other funding to implement Evident ID. Evident ID is an insurance verification software, and it is designed to eliminate the manual and often very complex task of making sure that vendor insurance certificates and the limits that they're providing are adequate based on your contracts. Evidence software addresses some critical risk management needs and also ensures that the city is protected as well as your fellow pool members. The software gives you all kinds of monitoring, automated alerts. It helps you track expiring certificates. It's pretty slick. And so the executive committee granted this award in recognition of the city's efforts and your proactive use of technology to reduce your exposure and strengthen the city's financial protection. So again, the grant can be used to support your risk management activities, such as training, equipment, policy development, and other sorts of initiatives that help reduce your exposures. Congratulations on this well-deserved award, and thank you again for the city's continued commitment to risk management practices. And also would just like to say thank you to all of your staff that work on risk management. It's not only those in the HR and risk management department, but everyone that looks and tries to create a culture of risk at your city. So thank you again, we appreciate it, and would be happy to present this.
We'll go down. Council, if you could join me down there?
All of us?
Yes. Mr. Metzler, to you and your staff, thank you very much for what you do. Glad we're being recognized, not only within our city, but how far PIRMA goes. Thank you very much. We'll move on to presentation of new hires and promotions to the city council. Turn over to Mr. Metzler again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. As an organization and really to help support and promote our organizational culture, we try to celebrate as much about our employees as possible. And one of the things that we've been doing on a quarterly basis with you here in the council chambers is to recognize and celebrate milestones for those employees that are new hires. Also those employees that have been recently promoted within the organization. So this part of the presentation is led by your Human Resources Director, Ms. Heather Barber, along with the Assistant Director of Human Resources, Ms. Sandra Bostic, and they'll go ahead and kick off the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Metzler. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. Tonight, we're here to recognize our new hires and promotions for October, November, and December. Our first group will be our new hires. I will invite the new hires up to the dais as I call their name, and then invite the council members down to take a photo with our new hires. Jessica Rojas, hired as the Senior Finance Specialist for Finance. Sandra Fernandez, Secretary for Economic Development. Sandeep Diman, Engineering Technician 1 for Engineering. And then we have Keelan Serrano. She is one of our admin interns for finance. That is our new hires, if you guys would like to come down for a photo. We don't join that one. We're gonna find you one. I told you she'd get a kick. I said I don't. Thank you. Yeah, just stay down here. Next, we're going to recognize our promotions for October, November, and December. We have Uriel Sanchez promoted to Fire Plan Checker with Building. We have Jacob Kern promoted to Airport Leasing Technician with the airport. Sarah St. Louis promoted to Management Specialist with Public Works. Eric Figueroa promoted to Management Technician with Community Services. Dennis Lee promoted to Associate Civil Engineer with Engineering. Amjad Al Omar promoted to Business Intelligence Developer with Information Technology. And our last promotion is Jimena, I'm sorry if I say this wrong, Sombrano, Assistant Engineer 2 with Engineering. Knew I was gonna mess that up. And we invite you for a photo with our promotions. Thank you. We'll find you one.
And at this time, we have a presentation by our city manager to the city council 2025 year in review. Mr. Metzler, it's your show again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. First of all, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to present to you the 2025 year in review. This is something that we do annually at this time, just to recap on all that we've accomplished in the last year, because of course I know we're all focused on what we're going to try to accomplish in this year. Certainly want to give due attention and recognition to obviously all that we've done as staff to support the goals that you lay out in our strategic plan. And so with that, I'll provide you a very high level recap of the more significant achievements. Like many of our previous years, 2025 was a very productive year. And before I dive in, I think it's important to thank you as a council for your leadership and your unwavering support for the strategic plan. The strategic plan is our policy document that serves as the roadmap for what we as a city want to accomplish. It adopts our vision, mission, and values as an organization. It adopts our council norms for effective governance, and it adopts 7 multi-year goals, each with their own respective strategies to achieve those goals. And I must also recognize as staff the importance this plays on how we run your city. The strategic plan helps make our work plan over the 3-year period that it covers very clear. It keeps us as staff from chasing a moving target in terms of what we should be focusing on. I must also thank our loyal, dedicated, and talented staff. We're very lucky to have the team that we do, and without them, there wouldn't be much to this presentation to share in terms of accomplishments. And so with that, the achievements outlined in this presentation are organized using the goals outlined in your strategic plan. And so our first multi-year goal identified as fiscal sustainability. And before I speak to the follow-on slides, I want you to know that I can't recall over my nearly 30 years with the city where we have been in as good of a fiscal position as we are today as a city. And with that said, last year we had a clean audit without any findings. We met or exceeded our reserve targets for those key funds, such as General Fund and Measure P. We expanded our cash flow modeling to a number of additional funds we manage, and it's very safe to say that today our cash position is very respectable. While I say this, I do want you and the public to know that being in the position that we're in doesn't occur overnight. It requires a tremendous amount of fiscal discipline from the council and the staff, and I do believe the stability that we have in this workplace contributes significantly as fiscal sustainability has become a bigger part of our organizational culture. Bear with me, it's a little slow here. So on that note, on the VMIS side of the house, VMIS is our municipal utility serving industrial customers at Foxborough and Southern California Logistics Airport, and has come a long way since its startup days about 20 years ago. VMIS is now reinvesting its cash into meaningful capital improvements, and this last year has completed the Kern River Interconnect, enabling us to become a wholesale gas customer so that we can provide gas services to our customers at those 2 industrial parks at a much more competitive price. Altogether, this interconnect will improve gas systems operating margins, providing it with additional funding to operate, maintain, and expand the natural gas system at SCLA. If I can, I'll just ask for a next slide back there in the back. I'm sorry, Jacob, there you are. Yeah, it's just delayed. Maybe back me up one. The next one involves our wellness center. Our staff continues to be effective at securing grants to support operations of our wellness center. Last year, we were awarded a little over $1 million in grant funding to support the wellness center operations. As a point of pride, our wellness center received the SCAG Housing Innovations Award. Next slide, please. Public safety is the next slide, and public safety in Victorville has been focused on not only police and fire, but it includes code compliance and animal services. Next slide. And so we'll review achievements for expanded public safety. December marked the one-year anniversary of our Animal Care and Adoption Center. In just 1 year, our animal services team hosted 54 community events, found homes for over 550 dogs, spayed and neutered 511 pets, and issued more than 1,500 animal licenses. Our successes have been due in large part to the extensive efforts by our staff to connect with our community. Next slide, please. On the code, there it goes. Thanks to increased code compliance staffing made possible through Measure P, our team is resolving more code cases. In 2025, they resolved nearly 5,000 code cases, an increase of 200% over the number of cases resolved in 2020. We're being more proactive in addressing nuisance behavior in our community. Something we did this last year, code also implemented park patrols to deter nuisance behaviors that have been occurring in our park facilities. And they conducted 4 major cleanup operations at homeless encampments, removing more than 50 tons of waste. Next slide, please. On the fire department side of the house, we were able to stand up 3 new transport-capable squads. Among the 3, 2 were placed into new frontline positions with new dedicated paramedic services being provided out of Station 312 and Station 315. The new squads help broaden our geographic coverage, strengthening our medical response network, and reducing wear and tear on our frontline engines. Next slide, please. Since the voters approved Measure P 5 years ago, we've been able to make significant investments in the public safety personnel and technology. The stats from 2025 show these efforts are having an impact with decreases in crime. For example, we saw a 40% decrease in homicides compared to the previous year, a nearly 20% decrease in Part 1 crimes, which are major violent crimes. Calls for service decreased by 9%. We also implemented new technology to help our deputies be even more effective. Last year, we implemented ShotSpotter gun detection technology and began work on our new drone first responder program, which we expect to implement, become full operational next month. And you'll take note that earlier today I shared with you some photos and some videos of the installation that's actually taking place today. Next slide. And we've come a long way on the risk management side of the house. You saw, of course, the award by PERMA and Ms. Lyons here tonight. But on the risk side of the house, prior to 2021, we'd contracted our risk management services. Risk management largely deals with our insurance-related matters, the processing of claims, addressing safety-related matters before becoming liabilities, among a bunch of other things. This year, the risk management division, led by Ms. Sandra Bostic, our Assistant Director of Human Resources, received this award. And this is a true testament to the amount of work that we've accomplished as a team by internalizing the services, taking better control over the services over the last 5 years, and really bringing that division forward much more formally. And so certainly thank Sandra, of course, for your hard work, your vision, and certainly appreciate, think the recognition from PERMA today is very, very timely. So thank you very much. Next slide, please. The next strategic goal is a strong community connections. And the next slide, please. Through the efforts of our community services team, we experienced an increase in participation in our sports, community events, activities, and library programming. For example, participation in youth flag football increased by 40%. Halibou attendees increased by 55% from 350 cars in 2024 to 543 just this last October. Participation in our summer reading program has increased by 22%, and our library issued 25% more passports. Next slide, please. And then in 2025, just this last year, we undertook several facility upgrades to improve amenities for our community. The largest improvement project was the transformation of the Green Tree Clubhouse into our new city library. 5,000 square feet have been added to the new building thanks to the $9 million grant we received from the state librarian. The results is a new modern library, double the size of our previous library. The grand opening is set for this first week in February. We also made improvements at our 4 parks and Westwind Sports Center, ranging from roof repairs and concrete repairs to landscaping and lighting. Next slide, please. Our HR department launched Civic Ready, the city's emergency mass notification platform, and utilized it during the Great Shakeout. Our IT department launched our customer service app, Victorville Now, to make it quick and easy for residents to report common concerns like potholes, graffiti, and illegal dumping. And so for those in the audience or listening to this presentation, if you haven't downloaded it, Victorville Now is the app that we use. It allows us to be much more responsive to any of the resident issues that we have. Next slide, please. We have continued to add our communication platform. Social media followers increased by more than 8,000, and our social media content was viewed by 5.8 million times. We now have more than 47,000 social media followers. We also celebrated 1 year of our city podcast, What's the TVV, where we take advantage of the longer format to take a deep dive into issues of most importance to our residents, like how we attract new businesses to Victorville, the city's approach to homelessness solutions, along with our new services. Next slide, please. Next strategic goal deals with reduced homelessness. And in December, this last December, was the 2-year anniversary of our Victorville Wellness Center. And so in just 2 years, and we're very proud of this, more than 200 clients that we've seen at the Wellness Center have graduated from homelessness to permanent housing because of the interim housing support services and health care being offered at the clinic. Our approach is having an impact. The 2025 point in time count revealed a 57% decrease in Victorville's unsheltered homeless and a 27% in overall homelessness. We look forward to continuing our efforts reducing homelessness in Victorville even further. Next are accomplishments related to the fostering of a greener Victorville. Next slide. Residents continue to take advantage of our free services to dispose of unwanted items the right way. 16,270 residents visited our recycling drop-off center, where we collected 490 tons of bulky items, more than 5,750 tires, over 2,970 mattresses, and 540 tons of mixed recycling. Nearly 5,900 residents visited our household hazardous waste center last year. More than 13,800 gallons of used motor oil was also collected. So major use, and this is an area of the city where certainly we're connecting better with the residents and trying to make a cleaner, greener Victorville. Next slide, please. Our abatement cleanup crew continue to be very busy addressing illegal dump sites and encampments in our city. In 2025, they abated more than 2,100 encampments and 13,440 illegal dump sites, removing more than 1,400 tons of trash and debris. From these sites, they recovered 5,750 tires in total. So major cleanup to just the open spaces out in our desert. Next slide, please. As a part of our Old Town revitalization efforts, we launched a cleanup program specific to Old Town. Our crews assisted 276 properties, both residential and business, removed 24 tons of waste. Some of the more common items were tires, mattresses, scrap metal, to name a few. Next, I'll review the accomplishments related to our strategic goal to foster a thriving economy. Next slide. To support local businesses, the Economic Development and PIO team continued their Shop Local and My Biz and VV programs. In 2025, they recognized 14 local businesses, helping them gain exposure to new customers. Our My Biz and VV program received recognition from the California Department of Economic Development, or CalEd. The Economic Development team also received the recognition from CalEd for their Old Town Facade Improvement program that grants CDBG funding to Old Town businesses to assist them with much-needed improvements. Currently, 5 Old Town properties are in the design or contractor selection phase for their facade improvements. Next slide, please. In 2025, we granted 370 new business licenses. Some of the new retail businesses include Five Below, Dollar Tree, Angry Chicks, and Raising Cane's, along with Pollo Campero expected to open very soon. Notable industrial development that completed in 2025 is the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company Distribution Center out at SCLA. Several other businesses began development or were approved in 2025. Next slide, please. Including the Del Amo Motorsports, American Jerky, and a new Super Target at the Desert Sky Plaza on Roy Rogers Road. And if you weren't exactly sure what that big building was on the southeast corner of Hesperia Road and Nisqually, that is where the American Jerky manufacturing facility will be going. Next slide, please. SCLA continues to thrive with 49 tenants and 100% of tenantable buildings under agreement. 99% of available space at SCLA is absorbed. SCLA continues to be the largest employment center in the area, offering more than 4,100 jobs. Next slide. Our final strategic goal is improved infrastructure. Next slide. With the limited funds available, we did undertake 2 major improvement projects last year. The citywide pavement preservation project phases 1 and 2, along with the citywide pavement preservation and maintenance project phase 2, along with the Village Drive sidewalk project. Our public works crew remain busy caring for our city. They swept 21,067 miles of roadway, removing 2,100 tons of debris. We filled 16,247 potholes. Used 718 gallons of paint to cover more than 180,000 square feet of graffiti, sealed 46,380 linear feet of cracks in our local roads. And then finally, on the Water District side of the house, our Victorville Water District pumped more than 6 billion gallons of water, and staff continued their water conservation efforts. They conducted water efficiency evaluations at 400 properties, including both residential and commercial. These audits resulted in annual savings of more than 391 million gallons of water. In total, the water efficiency team helped save a total of 425 million gallons of water in 2025. And so with that, I want to conclude by thanking you, the Honorable City Council, for your guidance in adopting the strategic plan. I keep bringing up the strategic plan because we're in the final year of our 3-year plan, and later this year, we'll be working closely with you to develop our strategic plan for the next 3 years. So you're going to hear a lot more about it. We're also looking forward as staff to hearing more from you as to what your visions and goals are for the future. And then finally, I share this with you. I share this with the public, hoping that you'll take this with you, use it. There's no pride in authorship of this document. Certainly, it's available to you to share to your constituents, share with your constituents, and let them all know that the resources that they entrust us with, the monies, they're being spent very prudently and very wisely to provide the best services that we can. With that, that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Madam Clerk, could we do a 2-minute question and answer session from each council member if they would like? Okay, I'm going to start over here, Councilwoman Mora.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Godin?
Is it questions and comments, Mayor? I just would like to say what a great job to the city staff, city manager, all of our deputy managers. Great job. It's wonderful to see the impact, especially on Measure P, as I was looking over this report in just a short time. The amount of work and the accomplishments that have taken place are amazing. And I am super proud to be on this council at this time because I'm walking into a staff that has worked extremely hard to accomplish a lot of things. And it's fun to celebrate with you guys all of the work that has been done. And I'm looking forward to continuing. We're at a place now where we can just continue to take ground and to advance and to better the city for our residents. And so it's exciting. So great job to everybody.
Councilwoman Irving?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have any questions, but I too would like to thank you, Mr. Messler, for this very informative and comprehensive review of 2025. And I want to commend you and the staff for the wonderful work that you've done. I'm very proud of our accomplishments, and it's my hope that we continue this trajectory of excellence and to improve the quality of life for all of Victorville. Thank you so much, and you guys should be commended. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
Yeah, well, I always get the, they always say what I want to say. Anyways, I'll go a little different angle. I've been in Victorville for 45 years. My wife was born and raised here, and I have watched and experienced the city through its ups and downs. The Great Recession, I consider myself to know it all. Maybe not as much as our city manager. He's been, well, I remember when he was a kid too. But I've seen the ups and downs, and I couldn't be more proud. It's probably getting a little ahead of myself, but I love to tell people since I've been on the council, everything's going so good, you know. But it's definitely our city staff. The system of deputy city managers, I think, was a great transition. Everybody does such a fantastic job. I feel like I have a fantastic relationship with our city staff. I make sure I wave to people, and I make sure our law enforcement and our firemen get a nice handshake and tap on the back, and our public works department is out there working. And I truly enjoy when somebody asks me a question, and so I can like show off, you know, like, I mean, you know, yeah, you guys had some water damage in Hesperia. Well, we've got the infrastructure, and we put the water where it belongs. You know, I love doing that. And so I couldn't be more prouder than everybody here. Our city engineering department does a fantastic job. As a retired contractor, I used to do work that was overseen by our engineering department, and I got no special treatment. I had to grind a lot of concrete.
Your time is up.
For these guys. So everybody does such a fantastic job. I'm so proud of our city.
From staff all the way, from our maintenance aides, all the way to our city manager. Thanks what you guys do on a day-to-day basis. You guys get done with what needs to get done and what you have. So thank you very much to staff, senior staff, and to your second in commands. Thank you. Thank you very much for making sure the road keeps going forward. Get it, road? Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you now present the agenda and any revisions there too?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one revision to the agenda this evening for agenda item number 4. It's revised Exhibit A to Resolution number 26-002 due to the agenda management software platform improperly converting document and altering formatting. That concludes the revisions to the agenda this evening, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. I ask for this time conflict of interest from any of my council members. None. We'll move on to introduction to public comments. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Victorville City Council. Your City Council is interested in your ideas and opinions, and furthermore endeavors to incorporate them into its deliberations. At the same time, the Council must be able to carry out its business in an organized and efficient manner, free from material disruption. Therefore, this meeting will be administered in accordance with the Council's established policies and procedures and Government Code Section 54957.9 and 54957.95. Individuals may speak on agenda items or on issues not posted on the agenda during the public comment section, provided those issues are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Individual speakers may address the Council once per public comment period and once per each public hearing item for up to 3 minutes. Additional time may be allotted for appeal hearings in accordance with the City's adopted policy and procedure manual. Those who desire to comment on a public hearing item may wish to reserve their remarks until that particular public hearing has been opened. All testimony is to be directed solely to the Council. Although open meeting laws do not permit council members to engage in dialogue with any speaker during the public comment period, please know your comments and questions may be taken into consideration by council members when discussing the particular agenda item. The presiding officer may briefly respond or have staff respond to statements or questions, or may request that the staff report back to the council at a subsequent meeting. Speakers are requested to comment as briefly as the subject permits. Once comments are invited, the speaker will be called on by name, then recognized by the presiding officer. The speaker will state the item number that will be addressed or that the subject is a non-agendized matter. Audience members may not disrupt, disturb, or otherwise impede the orderly conduct of this meeting, and those who do are subject to removal from their meeting pursuant to Penal Code 403. Your understanding and cooperation are appreciated. Our first speaker this evening is Quinice Walker on a non-agendized item.
Hello, good evening, everybody. This is my first time. I'm not a public speaker, but I came the first Tuesday to attend, to introduce to you guys. I have a nonprofit, and like I said, I'm not a public speaker, but God spoke to me on Monday and told me that I will stand in front of the city council. So I came, and the meeting was canceled. So I'm back today. I just basically want to introduce my nonprofit. It's called Bless the Hands. Um, our mission is to love God, love people, and to make a difference. What we do is it's a team of just me, my mom, my sister, my best friend. We cook out of my 2-bedroom apartment at least twice a month, and we just go out into the community and hand out plates to the homeless. When the shutdown was going on, God spoke over me to cook the first week of November. So from the 1st to the 8th, I cooked every single day. As of today, we have passed out over 400 plates. So when the shutdown happened, it went from breakfast to lunch to dinner and then back again. So I just want to introduce myself to let you guys know you will be seeing my face. I'm excited and I'm happy to, I heard about the Wellness Center. If there's anything I can do just to make myself available, you'll be seeing my face, and that's all. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mary Ann State on a non-agendized item.
Good evening. I participated in their senior home rehabilitation program as well as their residential rehabilitation program. And these are very good programs, especially for the seniors, to make sure that they can have their home safe for them to be, and things that may need to get done, you know, that weren't done. Like I bought my home 7 years ago. And so I'm very grateful for those programs. Now, one of them is a grant and one of them is a federal loan grant. And you have to be compliant with it, but you need to get the information to, the individual needs to get the information. Now, this is what prompted me to come, because I was a benefactor of this. And when it's the residential rehabilitation program, that is the federal grant. But it is a federal grant from the federal government that Victorville, if you qualify for these things, to have your home upgraded for whatever they approve it for. Now, you have to be compliant, and for your owner occupancy certification, and that's to make sure that the person still stays in the place and whatnot, and that they didn't just get the grant and then sell the home, or you know, or just go missing in action. In any given case, I didn't receive mine. Okay, it didn't end up in my mailbox. I don't know how this happened, but in any given case, I touched the ground running last Friday to get to my insurance company to notify them of this, because this also, when you get the federal grant, this needs to be more simplified, especially for seniors, and I happen to be a senior, okay? When you first apply for this, to make it more simplified, your insurance company should already have the city of Victorville listed on your homeowner's insurance. And this in no way gives your home to anyone, okay? And if you have a lien against your home, when you sell your home, you automatically have to pay your liens off. And I was a banker, so I know many of these things. So I wanted to say that on that, so that it could be more simplified. And I hope that you all get more grant monies for this, because it's a great program. My house looks like 2 different houses. So I'm very happy with the energy efficient windows and everything that got put in. And so I'm very grateful for this program. And I would like them to get more grant monies for weed abatement to help our seniors, you know, to keep their yard beautified, because we had enormous rains. And so as much as I was getting things done, we had this rain, and now I got grass, or well, it looks like grass, but it's not, right? So that we can have these programs, especially with the weed abatement, since we had such a great.
Your time is up.
It's up?
Your time is up.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I don't have any additional speaker cards. However, we did receive one public comment via email, and that was distributed to the council and posted to the website.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll move on to public hearings. Our first business of order is item 1, an amendment to the Victorville Municipal Code with environmental exemptions, making various changes to Article 12, Chapter 7 of Title 16 to adopt changes necessary to comply with regulations resulting from the State of California passage of Senate Bill 635 relating to the production of personally identifiable information provided by sidewalk vendors. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. Since 2024, we have had a framework that, consistent with state law, allowed us to permit and regulate sidewalk vending. Accordingly, sidewalk vendors are currently allowed to operate with a business license as a part of the established procedure or process to get a business license. A life scan background is currently required. In October of 2025, the governor signed SB 635, which prohibits local authorities from collecting fingerprints, immigration or citizenship status, place of birth, or individual criminal history information from sidewalk vending license applicants. And so with that, to comply with the new provisions of SB 635, we do have to amend our code to become compliant, effectively eliminating the live scan background requirement that's baked into our sidewalk vending permitting process. And so with that, this item is a code amendment to change our existing framework and become compliant with that law. Mr. Joe Sleggers is your building official. He is the one that has authored this item and is available for any questions or comments you might have.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council open and conduct a public hearing to receive public testimony, close the public hearing, find the VMC amendment exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Guidelines Section 15060C2, 15060C3, and 15061B3, introduce ordinance number 2463 for adoption and first reading by title only, and waive further reading in full of proposed ordinance number 2463.
Thank you. At this time, we'll do technical questions from council members. Councilwoman Godian?
I have none, thank you.
Councilwoman Mora?
I have none, thank you.
Councilwoman Irving?
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman? And I have none. At this time, I'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak?
No, Madam Mayor.
I will now close the public hearing. Madam Clerk, will you please read the title of ordinance number 2463?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Victorville, California, amending certain sections of Article 12, Specially Regulated Business Sidewalk Vendors, Chapter 7 Business License, Title 16 of the Victorville Municipal Code to comply with Senate Bill 635, the Street Vendor Business Protection Act, and make CEQA exemption findings.
Thank you. I'll invite a motion for this item.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt staff's recommendations.
Second?
We have a first by Councilwoman Irving, a second by Councilwoman Godan. Councilwoman Irving, comments on the pending motion?
I don't have any comments. Thank you, ma'am.
Councilwoman Godan?
None, thank you.
Councilwoman Mora?
None, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman? And I have none. Madam Clerk, will you take the vote?
Councilmember Godam,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Councilmember Mora,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We've now taken action to approve points 3 through 5 of staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. Item 2, an amendment of Title 16 of the Victorville Municipal Code with an environmental exemption introducing residential development requirements on mixed-use zone parcels identified in the city's housing element as regular housing needs allocation shortfall sites, and to correct a typographical errors, including mislabeling of mixed-use zone districts. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This item involves a code amendment, cleaning up our development code, particularly Title 16. This item is in direct relation to a letter of technical assistance received by the city from the State Department of Housing and Community Development, where it was identified that a housing element provision was in non-compliance and required some clarification. So this item is particularly dealing with residential in a mixed-use zone, and it's particularly bringing clarification to the requirement that residential within the mixed-use zoning is at least 50% of the buildable area. And so with that, this item has been authored by your city planner, Mr. Alex Hadigi. He's available for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council open and conduct a public hearing to receive public testimony, close the public hearing, find the Victorville Municipal Code Amendment categorically exempt per California Environmental Quality Act Guidelines, Section 15061B3, introduce ordinance number 2462 for adoption and first reading by title only to amend the Victorville Municipal Code, and waive a further reading in full of proposed ordinance number 2462.
This time we'll do technical questions from council member. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman, technical questions?
Just so I understand this right. So this changes, and this is, I've already had this question answered, but it's for the public. We must now match 50% of the commercial square footage with housing. Is that correct?
Under the under the MU2 zoning.
Okay, that's all I have.
Councilwoman Godan?
I have none, thank you.
Councilwoman Mora?
I have none, thank you.
Councilwoman Irving?
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman addressed my concern. Thank you.
And I have none. At this time, I will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak?
No, Madam Mayor.
I will now close the public hearing. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of ordinance number 2462?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Victorville approving amendment case PLAN 25-00021, an amendment to Title 16 of the Victorville Municipal Code with an environmental exemption to add residential development requirements on mixed-use zoned parcels identified in the city's housing element as regional housing needs allocation, RHNA, shortfall sites, and to correct typographical errors, including the mislabeling of mixed-use zone districts citywide.
I'll invite a motion for this item.
I'll move to approve item 2 as it pertains to points 3, 4, and 5.
Second.
I have a first by Mayor Pro Tem Harriman, a second by Councilwoman Irving. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman, comments on the pending motion?
I have no comments.
Councilwoman Irving?
No comments. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Godan?
None, thank you.
Councilwoman Mora?
None, thank you.
And I have none. Madam Clerk, will you take the vote, please?
Councilmember Godam,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Councilmember Mora,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We've now taken action to approve points 3 through 5 of staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. Moving on to items 3 through 16, the consent calendar. The only comment I have for the Engineering Department and Economic Development, right on with the reports you guys gave. It was very informative, very clear of what we got going and what we're doing in the future. Thank you. I'll invite a motion for this item.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt the consent agenda, which includes items 3 through 16.
Second?
I have a first by Councilwoman Irving, a second by Councilwoman Godian. Madam Clerk, will you take the vote, please?
Councilmember Godin,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Councilmember Mora,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We've now taken action on items 3 through 16 in accordance with the recommendation as set forth on the agenda. Moving on to written communications, item 17, annual financial reports for the fiscal year ended in June 30th of 2025. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Every year as we close out our fiscal year, we do close out our books and we do invite an independent auditor to review all of our financial statements along with testing our processes and procedures as they relate to accounting. And so as we've traditionally done that, we've done that again this year. We have actually undertaken a meeting with the audit committee and presented the report, but this is the opportunity for us to present the formal final presentation to you as to what the auditor has concluded. With that, I'm going to kick things off by inviting Ms. Carmen Kuhn, your finance director, to offer a few comments before inviting a presentation over Zoom by your independent auditor, Mr. Ahmed Badawi.
Good afternoon, members of the council. Thank you, Mr. Metzler. I'm just very proud to say that staff has worked incredibly hard throughout the year to ensure that we have a clean audit. It's, as Mr. Metzler had mentioned earlier, it had been several years that we were struggling and facing lots of challenges that we were able to correct. We continue to implement and enforce new controls to ensure that staff continues to improve our processes and we continue to maintain best business practices. And with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Badawi, our auditor, who I believe is on Zoom.
Yes.
Mr. Badawi, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started right away. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. Good evening again. My name is Ahmed Badawi. I will be presenting to you the results of the fiscal year 2025 audit. So I'm going to start here by, sorry about the animation, but I'm going to start here by letting you know the agenda, what I'm going to cover today. I will give you a brief overview of our firm and the engagement team. What were the deliverables and the scope of our audit? The audit methodology, very brief overview, just one slide on that. Areas of primary audit risk, the type of audit opinion we issued, and a brief summary of the numbers in the financial statements. Provide you some of the required communications as your independent auditor. And finally, a brief overview of the new accounting standards coming your way. So I will start here by an overview of our firm and the engagement team. This is our firm by the numbers. We have about 25 years of experience. We are a specialized firm that works mostly with government clients. We have about 65 government clients. We have about 44 audits that we do for cities. We have about 30 employees. And so far, knock on wood, we have 0 lawsuits, legal or disciplinary actions against the firm. In terms of our engagement team, this was the composition of our engagement team. I was the engagement partner. We always have a quality control reviewer who's responsible to review my work and also provide a second review of the financial statements. We had a senior auditor, 3 professional staff, and an IT specialist assigned to the audit. In terms of our deliverables and the scope of our audits, we were mainly engaged to provide an opinion on the city's annual comprehensive financial report. Also performed a single audit report, which is in progress right now. That's a report of compliance with federal grants. report on the Southern California Airport Logistics Authority, the financial statements audit, also the Victorville Water District financial statements, and agreed upon procedures on the appropriation limit schedule, also known as the GAN limit. And then finally, communications with those charged with governance, which is what I'm doing today. We also issue a letter summarizing that communication and is addressed to the City Council. In terms of our audit methodology, I'm not going to bother you too much with that, but I just wanted to give you one slide overview of how the audit is conducted. The audit is really done pretty much throughout the year, where it starts early, probably during February and March, with planning and gathering information, checking with the city if there are any new transactions or new issuance of debt or new accounting systems or anything that we can consider in planning our audit. We also finalize timing with the city. When are we going to do the interim phase, the year-end phase, and so on. The interim phase normally occur in the summer, and it focuses on reviewing of city processes and internal controls, and also perform risk assessment to design our audit procedures. The year-end phase is normally completed sometime in October, and it focuses on validating the account balances and the numbers presented by the city, making sure that we can substantiate them with audit evidence. And then finally, the reporting phase is when we draft the financial statements, management review them, and we issue those financials and then present to the City Council. As far as areas of primary audit risk, I always like to qualify this statement and say that there are no risk-free audits. Every audit, by default, have some basic risks. And with the city of Victorville, we had those standard risks that we have in most audits. The first one is the risk of management override of controls. And management is the one responsible for designing and implementing internal controls. They're also responsible for monitoring them. And oftentimes they are in a position to override those controls. So we try to design our audit procedures to minimize that risk. We do that by assigning more experienced staff to more complex areas of the audit, incorporating an element of unpredictability in the audit process, consider the selection of the accounting principles and make sure that they're consistently applied, examining journal entries prepared by management, reviewing estimates made by management, evaluating the business rationale for any unusual transactions, and then finally, evaluating the appropriateness of fraud-related inquiries that we perform. Another area of risk that auditing standards require us to consider to be a high-risk area is the revenue recognition. So we normally rely heavily on confirmations with third parties, especially for the governmental fund revenues. We confirm property taxes and sales tax and other significant revenues with the state, with the county, and we reconcile those to the city's accounting records. For the proprietary funds, we do a variety of procedures, from doing substantive analytics, looking at consumption versus revenues compared to prior years, also doing testing of utility billing and any other material revenues. Another area of focus is estimates. Estimates by nature are high risk due to the degree of uncertainty involved in them. So just wanted to bring to your attention that some of the numbers in your financial statements are estimated numbers, and those are the fair value of the city's investments, the useful life of the city's capital assets, estimates of the claims liability, also pension and OPEB liabilities are estimated numbers. Moving on to the auditor's report and the financial statements. So our auditor's report normally state the standards that we followed. And we have followed the generally accepted auditing standards. Also, we followed government auditing standards. We have issued an unmodified opinion, and an unmodified opinion means that we believe that the city's financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects, that all significant accounting policies have been consistently applied, that all estimates are reasonable, and that all disclosures are properly reflected in the financial statements. I wanted to give you a 30,000-foot view of the numbers in the financial statements. So on the next few slides, I'm going to be doing that. On this slide here is a summary of the city's assets over the last 3 years. And as you can see, that the numbers are fairly consistent year over year. There are increase in cash, the result of city's operation, but otherwise, numbers are fairly consistent year over year. on this slide here is a summary of the city's liabilities over the last 3 years. And again, similar situation, numbers are fairly consistent year over year, nothing really out of the ordinary. On the slide here is the city's equity, which is assets minus liabilities. Wanted to highlight to you that equity is divided into 3 main categories. The net investment in capital assets, which is the amount that the city invested in streets and buildings and equipment and other assets. So this amount is usually not in a spendable form and most likely will not become spendable anytime soon. This amount was about 597 million. Then you have restricted amounts, and those are legally restricted by a third party. It can be grants agreement or bond document or gas tax money, but they are restricted for a specified use. And then finally, the unrestricted amount is the amount that is under the council control that have no outside legal restriction. Another ratio here that we normally like to present is what we call the net cost of service to tax revenue. So the net cost of service is the cost of running city departments minus any revenues that those departments can bring in on their own. This can be either service to users or grants to offset their cost. And the idea is to see whether tax revenues are sufficient to cover the net cost of service. As you can probably see, the tax revenues over the last 3 years were more than sufficient to cover the net cost of service. Also, the net cost of service does fluctuate a lot. For example, in 2023, there was a lot of ARPA funds that would have reduced the net cost of service. Also in 23, pension expense were a negative number instead of positive, so that also reduced the net cost of service. But in the last 3 years, tax revenues always exceeded the net cost of service. If we were to just focus on the general fund, on this slide here, we look at the unrestricted portion of the fund balance, and we compare that to annual expenditures. The idea is to see how long can the city continue to pay bills using its existing fund balance. And as you're probably aware, the city's general fund is in a very good position. It has about 16 months worth of expenditures in the fund balance. So obviously, that's a very healthy fund balance. So just wanted to highlight. And it's been like that, obviously, for a number of years. Wanted to just cover pension and OPEB. So pension is an estimated number, and obviously it's a big liability, 94 million for the city. One of the assumptions that are very important in estimating this number is the discount rate. So accounting standards do require us to present to you what your liability would look like if that discount rate is either increased or decreased by 1%. So you can see that pension liability is very sensitive to the discount rate. The number can fluctuate from 140 million to 50 million just by changing in the discount rate. So just wanted to highlight that to you. And then similar to pension, OPEB is also an estimated number and discount rate, although not as significant as pension, but still significant. So we are making the same presentation, what the number would look like with a 1% increase or decrease. The next part of my presentation are the required communications as your independent auditor. And on this slide here, I'm going to present to you the responsibilities of the audit firm versus management responsibility. So we are responsible to provide an opinion on the city's financial statements, whether they are fairly stated or not, to evaluate internal control over financial reporting, evaluate compliance with laws, contracts, and grants, ensure the financial statements are clear and transparent, and then finally communicate with the governing body. Management have a lot of responsibilities in this process. So management has to take responsibility for the financial statements. Our audit does not relieve management from its responsibility to establish and maintain internal control over financial reporting, make all financial records available to us, establish internal control to prevent and detect fraud, inform us of all known and suspected fraud, comply with laws and regulations, and then take corrective action on any audit findings. As far as independence, it is solely our responsibility to maintain our independence. We adhere to the AICPA standards and the California Board of Accountancy rules. And we evaluate any additional service that we offer the city to make sure that it does not impair our independence. Preparing the financial statements is a service that can impair independence if no safeguards are put in place. We have an independent reviewer who's not involved in the audit who reviews those financial statements, and that meets the requirements to maintain our independence. Excuse me. As far as timing of the audit, we believe that the audit was performed timely within the time frame communicated to the city. I believe that the audit was substantially complete before the end of the calendar year, and it was issued shortly after. So I believe that this was better than the year before and the year before that. As far as significant accounting policies and unusual transactions, so there were really no unusual transactions, but there were 2 new accounting standards that the city implemented during that fiscal year. We had no difficulties encountered during our audit. As far as significant audit adjustment and unadjusted differences, so there were some adjustments and reclassifying entries, and management has posted all of those adjustments. Normally, adjustments occur when after the city closes its books and presents us with the numbers that we find errors in them. This is common that we may find something that was missed or not accrued properly. None of the misstatements that we found were material, and management had agreed with all those adjustments and posted them. As far as deficiencies in internal control over financial reporting, so I am pleased to say that we reported no material weaknesses and no findings to the city in this year audit. Obviously, I do want to remind you that we are still doing the federal compliance audit, so I don't want to make a statement that there will be nothing because this audit is still complete, but at least for the city's financial audit, the airport authority, the water district, all of that, we have no findings. Just a brief overview of the new accounting standards that are coming your way. So next year, 2026, there are a couple of new standards, and then in 27, there is also 1 new standard. Normally, we meet with management several times throughout the year. We discuss those new standards and how they're going to impact the city. We also host a training seminar where we go into detail about those standards as well. So we will keep the city abreast regarding those updates. With that, I want to say thank you for allowing us to provide service to the city of Victorville, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council and Board of Directors approve a motion to receive and file the following: City of Victorville Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025. Victorville Water District Basic Financial Statement for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025. Southern California Logistics Airport Authority Basic Financial Statements for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025.
Thank you. At this time, we'll do technical questions from council members. Councilmember Irving?
I don't have any technical questions, although I do have comments. I'll wait until that time. Thank you.
Mayor Protem Harriman?
Since I sit on the audit review committee, I had all my questions answered last time it was presented.
Thank you. Councilman Mora?
I have no questions, thank you.
Councilman Godian?
I already had my question answered. Thank you.
And I do have a question. Mr. Metzler, does this raise our credit score? No, it raised mine.
The audit in and of itself does not raise your credit score or credit rating, as would be the case as it relates to municipal finance. But certainly, if we were to go to one of the rating agencies and ask for our credit to be reviewed, this is certainly one of the documents that they would look at among a bunch of documents. But this certainly would be one that they would look at to help establish a credit rating.
Thank you. I'll invite a motion for this item.
Move to adopt staff recommendation as to items 1, 2, and 3 as presented on the agenda.
Second.
I have a first by Councilman Godian, a second by Councilman Irvin. Councilman Godian, comments on the pending motion?
I'd just like to say great job to our staff, Mrs. Kuhn and your whole finance team. Wonderful job and great report. So well done.
Councilman Irvin?
I too would like to commend the finance team. Great job. And I, as a council member, I'm very satisfied with this report. We don't have, what is this, year 2 or 3? We don't have any second year, any material weaknesses or any findings. That's quite impressive. So, oh, there you are. Kudos to you. I think one time I said in my interview in the podcast, I wanted your position because that's where all the action takes place. So I just want you to know I see you. Good job. Okay, thank you.
Mayor Potem Harriman?
Yeah, I also want to thank Ms. Kuhn for everything. And there's a saying, you learn from your mistakes. They were never yours, but you know, we've come a long way. And I've sat on the committee, and both the last 2 years, everything plays out very nice. I'm also proud of that. So thank you for you and your staff.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Mora?
I just also wanted to say thank you very much for the staff reports. It does look like it takes a lot of time and effort and with the accuracy, so I do appreciate it and thank you very much.
And I just like to say, Carmen, great job to you and staff. Mr. Metzler, thank you for seeing the vision and where we could go and where we're at and where we could be. And like Mrs. Irving said, the ride's going to be fun in the future. Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you take the vote?
Councilmember Godam.
Yes.
Councilmember Irving.
Yes.
Councilmember Mora.
Yes.
Mayor Protem Harriman.
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We've now taken action to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. Item 18, cooperative agreement with the County of San Bernardino for the Ridgecrest Road and Bluff Crest Street and Vista Point Drive traffic signal project. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This item represents a first step towards ultimately seeing a fully signalized intersection where Bluff Crest Street and Vista Point Drive meet up with Ridgecrest Road. And with that, we've agreed with county staff that intersection should be considered for a signal. And so this is the first step to get us there. This item particularly involves an agreement among ourselves and the county where we're effectively agreeing to move forward on a 50-50 basis where we'll equally share in the cost not only to design but then ultimately to construct. And then subsequent to construction, ultimately there'll be another agreement that will be amended to similarly share in the cost to operate and maintain that signal. And so with that, since this item is just memorializing the cost share relationship once approved by this council, presuming the council approves it, this item would then move forward to the County Board of Supervisors where presuming they approve the item. We then, as the city, will serve as the lead agency for the procurement. So we'll conduct a solicitation to invite bidders, design firms, basically to help design the project. You'll see this item come back to you ultimately in a recommendation to award a contract for those design services. And then, of course, once that design firm is brought on board, we will complete the design to the point where we have bid specs, and then you'll see the item once again upon completion of the bidding process and a recommendation to award a construction project. I say all that because it will take a little bit of time. It could take as much as 2 years to see from this action all the way to ultimately getting the signalized intersection constructed. But this is a first step. And so with that, this item has been authored by your city engineer, Mr. Freddie Bonilla, and he's available for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council approve entry into a cooperative agreement with the County of San Bernardino to jointly participate in a project installation offset traffic signals at the Ridgecrest Road intersections with Bluff Crest Street and Vista Point Drive, and authorize the city manager and city attorney to make non-substantive changes and clarifications to the cooperative agreement.
Thank you. At this time, we'll do technical questions from council members. Councilmember Mora?
I don't have any, thank you.
Councilman Godian?
I have none.
Councilwoman Irving,
No questions, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman.
Yes, can I ask Freddie something? Come on, Freddie. Hey, this intersection looks like a little bit of a challenge, so who gets the honor of designing it?
Ultimately, we will issue an RFP. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. Ultimately, we'll issue an RFP, and then we'll do a qualification of statements review, and whoever is the top firm will get that. But we are familiar with offset intersections. The best example I could give you is Nisqually and First. It is an offset intersection, so that is sort of the model that we are going to follow into that design period.
Okay, and that's all I have. Thanks.
At this time, I'll invite a motion for this item. Motion to adopt staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda.
Second.
I have no comments. Great job, Freddie, on this. Hopefully we can move quicker. Councilwoman Irving,
No comments, thank you.
Councilman Godian,
None, thank you.
Councilwoman Mora,
None, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman.
I have none.
Madam Clerk, will you take the vote?
Councilmember Godam,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Councilmember Mora,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We've now taken action to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. Item 19, award of construction contract to Veterans Communications Service, Inc. for citywide security camera installation Phase 1, Project CC 26-063. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This item has been brought forward after we have completed a solicitation for a scope of work that involves 21 cameras to be installed at 3 locations throughout the city, along with communications equipment here at City Hall. And so among the 21 cameras, 14 are proposed to be located at Hook Park, 2 of which, 2 will be at the Victorville Police Station, and 5 are slated to be at the 8th Street Community Center. And with that, this item also involves the installation of server equipment and commissioning that'll be hosted here at Victorville City Hall. This was a public bidding exercise, so the item is being brought forward with a recommendation to award to the low bidder. This item has been authored by your Community Services Director, Ms. Donna Meester, and she's here and available for any questions or comments you might have.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council approve the award and execution of a construction contract to Veterans Communication Services, Inc. of Chino, California, in the amount of $217,794.50 for the citywide security camera installation, Phase 1, Project CC 26-063.
At this time, we'll do technical questions from council members. Councilwoman Mora?
I guess it might be a silly question. After the cameras are installed, who's going to be monitoring them?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. They will connect to our existing Vigilon software service where we can view those in real time or in playback. Here at City Hall, we also have a Vigilon services connected at the police station for the same services. Certainly not manned, if you will, to where somebody's watching those cameras 100% of the time, 24/7 a day, but certainly available as a tool when needed.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Godian?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have one question. Are these going to be additional cameras that we're adding, or are any of these new cameras going to be replacing older cameras?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. I'm going to ask Mr. Camargo to speak to that, as I believe I know the answer, but I want to make sure it's right and perhaps even share how this is an expansion from a previous award.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. So these are all new cameras at the 3 facilities, Hook, the police station, and 8th Street. The former system was out of date technology. It was the former system called Leverage. So since we're expanding with the new system called Vigilon, we've since started here at City Hall, and now we're beginning with the offsites, beginning with these 3. So these are all new 21 cameras that'll replace existing technology that's no longer supported.
Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Irving?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know if you could read my mind, Mr. Metzler, but you know how I feel about cameras. So you did address one of my questions. The other question is, because this is phase one, does that mean that the vision is that we will have phase two? And it also is called the citywide installation project. So how do we determine where the cameras will be placed?
With that, so I guess to answer the first part of it, yeah, there is a vision to expand beyond this current phase to establish a system that is much more global, citywide. I know we're looking at expanding on our traffic signals as an example. But Mr. Camargo, can you elaborate on how we're deciding locations?
Thank you, Ms. Metzler. Again, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. So as mentioned, it is a phased approach. So we're beginning with these 3 offsites, and then we'll ultimately expand to the parks and the traffic signals. So the goal is to expand these cameras where we have a live feed that can feed into the ultimate real-time information center. But we have to begin obviously with the infrastructure that's already in place. So the infrastructure that I'm speaking of is the fiber. We have fiber throughout the city. These connections are already in place, beginning with our offsites with switches, meaning like our networking equipment. Those are already connected to our network. So we're going to begin with these offsites first, and then as we start to expand in later phases, which will be our parks area, there's no infrastructure on those sites. So for example, Hook Park, we would only be able to install the technology at the Hook Community Center, but we're exploring technologies where we could put cameras throughout the entire park, which wouldn't require a hard plug data cable. It could rely on the Cat6 cable or some other type of SIM card technology that could send that over the cloud.
So just so I understand, so the way we're making the decision on where we will place the cameras is we're placing them at parks, essentially.
Public facilities and
public spaces.
traffic signals as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
Yeah, I had most of my questions answered earlier today. The one thing I understand it's an infrastructure thing, but we have some areas people are illegally dumping a lot, and I know we had some portables. I don't know if those proved to be effective, but I notice a lot of dumping goes on near our pumping stations. You know, we have some of those smaller block buildings out in the desert. Do those have infrastructure?
We have a lot of them, and they probably do. For something like that, we could use the LVT mobiles. We do have probably 3 or 4 of those. And if there's a particular area that you can think of, we can certainly take a look at that more closely and determine if it's appropriate that we move one of the LVTs around as a quicker way to deploy camera technology before figuring out whether or not there's hardwire or infrastructure in place to support a fixed camera system.
Okay, I know that's veering off a little bit. We just have a dumping problem, of course, in our city. That's all I have.
I'll invite a motion for this item.
Move to adopt staff recommendation as presented on the agenda.
Second.
I have a.
Ladies first.
I have a first by Councilwoman Godian, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Harriman. Councilwoman Godian, comments on the pending motion?
I have none, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
I have none.
Councilwoman Irving?
No comments, thank you.
Councilwoman Mora?
No comments, thank you.
And I have none. Madam Clerk, will you take the vote, please?
Councilmember Godin?
Yes.
Councilmember Irving?
Yes.
Councilmember Mora?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
Yes.
Mayor Becerra?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We've now taken action to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. Item 20, ratification of change order number 1, Hook Community Center flooring installation project CC26-061. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This item involves the ratification of signature or approval by the city manager for a change order to a contract that was awarded by this council back in November, basically to install new flooring at the Hook Community Center. And upon the commencement of that contract or the construction work taking place, investigations of the concrete structure underneath the flooring. Test results showed a higher moisture content than desirable. And so with that, the change order effectively is approving a mitigation before the final flooring is installed. So it does necessitate a change order to that contract. The author on this item is your Community Services Director, Ms. Donna Meester. She's available for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council ratify the city manager's approval of change order number 1 to the construction agreement with Lawrence W. Rossing Company for the Hook Community Center flooring installation, project CC 26-061, in the amount of $36,217.74, and approve the revised total contract amount of $76,917.74.
Thank you. This time we'll do technical questions from council members. Councilmember Mora,
I don't have any, thank you.
Councilman Godian,
I have none, thank you.
Councilman Irving,
No questions, thank you.
Mayor Protem Harriman.
Yeah, so when the moisture when the moisture was found, did the contractor, have they already located the exact reason, or does their price include, or does their price consist of them having to locate it? Have they already determined exactly what it is, or does that price include figuring it out?
Donna, do you know? I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Messler. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. The scope of that work did not include determining the reason for the moisture.
Yeah, did their price to fix the issue, do they already know exactly what it is to give that price, or does that price include them having to now locate it?
No, the scope that we have in the cost in that scope is to provide our moisture barrier, not to correct the moisture that's existing. It's to lay an epoxy flooring for moisture mitigation for that barrier.
So they're gonna lay visqueen on the ground, or are they just gonna inject?
No, they actually grind the floor and then they're going to pour the epoxy.
They're gonna epoxy the top?
Yes, all of the concrete has the moisture barrier.
Has our engineering department or our building department approved that way to do it?
That was the manufacturer's standard to keep the warranty.
No, I understand that, but have we decided that that is the appropriate
Yes.
step to do it? Because in my past business, it was always to remove and lay a barrier and then replace rather than seal the top.
Laying a barrier would not work for the luxury vinyl tile because it's a glue down tile. So you couldn't glue to the
yeah.
visqueen type.
Yeah, I understand that. You're misunderstanding
Sorry.
a little bit. That's okay. The moisture comes from under the concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So a moisture barrier under the concrete is normally the way it's done, rather than just, because there could be future damage just laying epoxy on the top. If you still have that moisture coming up, the epoxy's not going to work forever. So I'm just making sure we know we're getting
Your time is up.
done correctly.
We did go with the manufacturer's installation warranty recommendation.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll invite a motion for this item. Motion to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda.
Second.
First by Mayor Becerra, second by Councilwoman Irving. I have no comments on the pending motion. Councilwoman Irving?
No comments, thank you.
Councilman Godian?
None, thank you.
Councilwoman Mora?
None, thank you.
Mayor Protem Harriman?
Yeah, I don't believe this is going to get done correctly for the long term. That's all I have.
Madam Clerk, will you take the vote?
Councilmember Godam,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Councilmember Mora,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
No.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes with Mayor Pro Tem Harriman voting no.
We've now taken action to approve staff's recommendations as presented on the agenda. Item 21, Public Safety Plan Update. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This one involves a brief presentation as to the public safety plan. And so, yeah, we've got the presentation up on the screen. And so just a little bit of history about this plan. We brought it forward mainly because we're now at having celebrated 5 years since this plan was complete. And the public safety plan, the reason for it, it actually was envisioned back in 2019, late 2019, where the council at the time, given the much more strained fiscal resources that we had, certainly saw a need to expand all of our public safety services with really a desire to explore options to determine what it would take to become more proactive in all elements of our public safety service. And so next slide, please. And so with that, we ultimately as staff studied a lot about everything from response type to response levels, calls for service, and ultimately in May of 2020, the council was presented with a document that's the public safety plan. And as mentioned, that focused largely on community policing, code compliance, animal services. And it's important to note animal services was different then as compared to what it is now. And of course, at that same time, we were new to getting back into the fire service. We just transitioned from county to city fire service. So certainly there was a vision as well now that we had greater control over our service delivery to expand and be more responsive on the fire and medical side. And so with that, it did identify a number of different recommendations, all of which could not be accomplished without financial support from the community. And that was in large part due to the many years of having experienced a revenue situation where revenues were being outpaced by the expenses by quite a large margin. And so that document in and of itself really kind of served as the framework to support the council's ultimate decision during the middle part of 2020 to consider at least placing a measure on the ballot. The council did approve an ordinance in about July of 2020 where it was approving an ordinance to put on the November 2020 ballot the consideration of general transactions and use tax, which effectively is a 1 cent or 1% sales tax measure. It also ultimately got coined Measure P. Next slide, please. And Measure P was ultimately approved, sorry, water time. Measure P was ultimately approved at the November 3rd, 2020 election. And with that 1 cent sales tax, it did take effect in April of 21. And that effectively increased the sales tax from 7 3/4 to 8 3/4. Just 1 penny is all that raised the sales tax. Certainly much less than that cup of coffee or that caramel frappo, whatever that you get from Starbucks. And so that was the effect. And we started imposing that in April. First collections came in right around the middle of the 21 calendar year. And that has been the funding source that's been allowing us to expand public safety, community improvements, and homelessness and housing. Next slide, please. And a little bit of a statistic on what it's helped generate in the aggregate since the 2021 fiscal year. We've generated $124 million in Measure P tax revenue. We do account for that in a separate fund than the general fund, even though Measure P in and of itself is a general tax. We do account for them separately because that was the will of the council back when the measure was passed. In fact, it was the will of the council not only to have the Measure P accounted for in a separate fund, it also was the will of the council then, and it still exists today, to where we have an oversight committee in place to oversee two purposes. One, that the amounts recommended in the budget for this fund on an annual basis are consistent with the intent of Measure P. And then, of course, around audit time, that the funds generated from Measure P have actually been spent consistent with the intent of Measure P. In this slide, you can see 21 being a partial year, but every year, full year after that, it's been tracking right at the $29 million a year amount. And it tracks fairly close to the sales tax that you generate to the general fund. Next slide, please. And this slide is an interesting slide because when we did the Measure P plan, you only saw the statistics from 2014 to 2019. And interestingly, we were dealing with the issue at that time, as 2019 being the measurement year. You know, the change that we were seeing in population was modest. It was 5% from 2014 to 2019. That's almost 6,000 people population increase before we actually move forward with Measure P. But interestingly, since 2019, you've seen a dramatic increase. It's about 12% population increase from 2019 to 2024. About 15,000 people, a little over that, have been added since we did the public safety plan. And with that, I call to the attention the dramatic spike in population. Just as we were dealing with issues in 2019, 2020, where we were trying to establish a framework to be more proactive. Interestingly, the population has continued to increase at a much faster pace. And with that population increase, it's important to know that each person representing that population increase, they bring their own demands for public service. So the demands for public services are continuing to increase, though Measure P has been huge in at least allowing us to respond to that. Next slide, please. So going to the police side of the house, we've got a couple of factoids here, along with a table or a chart that actually shows you the change in our staffing levels on the police side of the house. And so you can see the best measurement year would be from 2020 to 2021. And you can actually see with the Measure P logo there the actual years where we were generating revenues. But you can see from 2020 to 2021 an increase in the number of members to our Schedule A, increasing by 12 personnel. And I want to call to the attention the logic and the strategy that we had when we added those 12 members. I mean, it's not uncommon to hear from the public, especially when something happens in the community that's rather eye-opening. You know, it's a pretty immediate reaction from the public to say we need more deputies. But in this particular case, when we chose to add the first wave of staff to the contract, what we did bring on weren't 12 deputies. In fact, what we brought on was 5 deputies, 5 SROs, and a crime analyst. And we actually took a logical approach because based upon the call volume that we were dealing with at the time, we were dealing with a number of issues. It wasn't just on the patrol side, it wasn't just on the traffic side, but I can remember here in these chambers where we'd have members of the public coming to council meetings complaining that, hey, I called 911 and it took 3 hours to respond. And while that sounds crazy to hear and you don't want to believe it, you know, we did have some statistics that were showing that was the case. And there's a slide later that'll speak better to it. Because not all of those calls were emergency calls where it was taken, you know, potentially 3 hours to respond. And so with that, we were very thoughtful in the position adds to the contract. But it's something that's allowed us since that time to change from a 6-beat patrol system to an 8-beat patrol system, creating smaller geographic areas where we can dedicate patrol deputies to better understand and better know those smaller geographic areas. Next slide, please. Oh, next slide, please. This slide effectively attempts to show the increase in total expenditures to the police side of the house. You'll see about a $17 million swing from fiscal year end 2019 to 24. And not all of that is due to the position adds. There is a reality that we face in pretty much all of the public services that we provide. But again, the cost of the service is traditionally on the police side increasing annually 5 to 6%. And so with that, a big part of the 17% are those annual escalators that we see just because of the cost of the service. But this does also support the position adds and also breaks down what we've supported from the general fund and the Measure P fund. Next slide, please. This slide shows your call volumes, both proactive and dispatched. We're really not seeing a dramatic change in the aggregate amount of calls for service. We're tracking right about that 145,000 level. There are a few years due to the data breach involving the county's technology system where data was just not available in those particular years. But in terms of actual call volume, we're not seeing a dramatic change in the call volume. Next slide, please. I think this is a pretty interesting slide because I think it does tell a lot. And while we added 5 deputies, we have been able to, with those deputies and getting to full staffing, and we recently just accomplished that this last December, I think, at least on the patrol side. We've been able to better attend to the traffic division, expanding the traffic division to where I think what you'll see in this slide particularly is an increase in traffic citations in our measurement year of 2019. Since that time, we've issued almost 6,000 more traffic citations in a year when you compare back to 2019, which is about a 390% increase, so a pretty dramatic increase. It gets us just slightly above where we were at 10 years ago. So I think we're back to a respectable level. I can tell you with the automated ticket machines that the deputies, the traffic deputies are going to have in their cars, that number is going to increase exponentially, especially when we add additional traffic support. You'll see that number go up dramatically because we'll be able to actually be more efficient in the issuing of tickets when we're doing our traffic stops. But keep in mind the trajectory of this last year where we're seeing an acceleration in the traffic citations, because on the next slide, you'll see what I believe are direct correlations to traffic enforcement and the behaviors that yield from that. And so what you do see in these slides is traffic collisions along with a more detailed breakdown for fatals, and these are our statistics. And you'll actually see a dramatic drop in the amount of traffic collisions going back to your measurement year of 2019, down from 5,022 to 3,065. It's a 39% drop, about 1,957 less traffic collisions since 2019. And then similarly, when you look at the fatals, and sometimes you just hear of one fatal and it gets the attention and you think there's just, they're happening all the time, but we've seen similarly a drop in the fatal collisions despite them happening. We've seen from the measurement year a drop of 42% from 26 in 2019 to 15, which is 11 less fatal collisions. And so we've seen some meaningful drop there, and we believe that that's directly correlated to the increase in the traffic citations. Next slide, please. There's a little busyness here, so I'll just kind of highlight it for you because I think this is a very telling set of charts here that really kind of speak to what we were learning when we had those complaints of calls taken potentially 3 hours. You know, there was some truth to that when you got into the detail, you know, the granular level of the actual calls. But these are average response times for our calls, and they're actually broken down by different level of priority. And to make this as simplified as possible, we just focused on the priority 2s, 3s, and 4s. And so those are going to be, those aren't your emergency calls. Those are the types of calls where there's no threat to life, no further threat to property. And I think it's telling to see that in the case of the priority 2s, we were actually able from the measurement year to reduce our response time total of 27 minutes for the priority 2s. For the priority 3s, we were able to reduce our response time 41 minutes, and the priority 4s, we were able to reduce our response times 50 minutes. And one of the things that I believe that is in direct relation to why you've seen the dramatic improvement in the response to these 2s, 3s, and 4s, I think it has a lot to do with the SROs, because one of the things that we identified when we rolled out our delivery model is recognizing the complaint from the resident, and there was a large complaint really in this area of the 2s, 3s, and 4s. We found it more effective of an approach to consider bringing in non-sworn SROs to focus on these types of cases where there was no further threat to life, there was no further threat to property, and effectively were taking reports, taking notes, and instead having the deputies available instead of tying them up for these lower acuity calls, for lack of better terms, having the deputies, the patrol folks, the traffic folks really focused on the emergency and the priority 1 calls. Next slide, please. On the fire side of the house, certainly what you have here also, you see a dramatic increase in the support for fire staffing. Of course, fire service is staffing intense. And with that, you've seen a fairly significant increase from our beginning of about 55 members of the fire department in our measurement year, now up to 93. We've added positions in the area of suppression, prevention, EMS, and administrative services. Staffing's increased 69%. I've added 12 new firefighter paramedics to enhance EMS. We've expanded or invested heavily in improving the quality of our frontline fleet. We've actually opened a new fire station at 315. We've fully complemented it, not only with a frontline medic engine response, but we also have dedicated medic squad at that location as well. Next slide, please. And you'll see with Measure P, it's allowed us to, you'll see the expenditures on the next slide actually going up, but that's also to be able to expand our services to parts of the city that didn't have adequate service, now do. But then has also allowed us to start investing in types of service that have been able to reduce the dependency on your frontline medic engine equipment. Next slide, please. This slide shows the call for service, and so it's telling you certainly that your department is a very, very busy fire department, one of the busiest in the county. We're tracking at about 25, approaching 26,000 calls. That's a lot of calls, and about 85% of those calls are for medical aid or medical service. Next slide, please. I did touch on, without Measure P, we wouldn't have been able to open Station 315. That's a station that had not been operated for many years, and even when it was on a limited basis. It's allowed us to invest in 3 new Type 1 engines. We've got a great photo of the tiller there. That's a new apparatus that gives us tremendous amount of flexibility in terms of how we can maneuver certain scenes, certain situations. We've also added 3 new transport-capable squads, which means to the extent we have a need and there isn't adequate transport-capable services, From the ambulance company, we do have an ability to actually transport if necessary, and we've transported at least one individual so far. So it's coming in to be a very, very useful tool. Measure P has allowed us to expand our USAR equipment. That's your urban search and rescue equipment capabilities. Cardiac monitors, Lucas CPR devices, and a number of fire department improvements, including security gates, new bay doors, HVAC replacements, kitchen remodel, things of that nature. Next slide, please. One of the most dramatic, especially when you compare where they started, is on the code compliance. I keep saying code enforcement. It's code compliance staffing side. And this was big for the council when we first started looking at the public safety plan, was being more responsive on the code enforcement side, being more proactive, obviously educating first the public is the approach about our codes, but then of course doing everything necessary to try to encourage compliance for those in our community. So with that, it did require investments in the staffing levels. You see in the measurement year of 2019, 8 bodies is how we staff that department. We currently have 25, and that's just on the code compliance side of the house. That also allowed us to, or I'm sorry, also included in those numbers is the stand-up of a new homeless engagement task force, and that's a group of code compliance officers that are dedicated to building relationships, making connections with those in our homeless community, and ultimately trying to connect them to services through our wellness center or other services that are available. Next slide, please. The investment to get to where we're at, and I think it's certainly a level of where we're much more proud today about the services that we have on the code side than what we had before. Certainly we were a very lean operation in 2019. We're still lean, and you'll see that when you see the attention to our call volume. But this is an area where it's actually taken on a pretty meaningful investment in people resources or human resources for that department. Next slide, please. So this slide is showing what we've experienced, again, since your measurement year of 2019. And it's a table, or it's a chart that shows reactive versus proactive and homeless-related calls. And you can see a fairly dramatic increase in the amount of code compliant cases that we've been able to take on. There's been a direct correlation with the addition of staff to be able to attend to more and more code compliance cases. And if you remember the public safety plan from 2020, you'll remember in the codes compliance section, it was identified in the stats of that section where we were truly getting behind. We could not keep up with the caseload to where we were carrying over an increasing amount year after year of code cases to where we weren't closing them out. And certainly we've been able to change that trajectory with the addition of staff to this department. But you'll see over the course of time since 2019, you'll see an increase of 6,145 cases from 2019 to 2024. That's a 200% increase. And just in 2024 alone, of the 9,200 cases there, just in that year, 6,000 of those cases were actually closed out in that year. So pretty impressive in terms of the call volume that we've been able to take on. Certainly contributing to those now, and the numbers probably are going to be higher. Certainly the Victorville Now 411 application that we have is probably going to yield even a greater number of code cases for us to attend to. Next slide, please. This highlights some of the Measure P funded equipment, 9 vehicles, technology equipment, police radios, ballistic vests, and a number of training for staff. Next slide, please. This is an area, so we're speaking to animal services now, and you'll see as well the point in the graph is to show previous staffing levels and of course the increased staffing levels. But what this doesn't tell you is that had we not had Measure P, I'm not exactly sure how we would have really responded to the surprise that we had when it was announced to us that the animal shelter in Apple Valley that we depended upon for so long, when it closed in April of 2023, we had to come up with a solution of our own. And if we didn't have Measure P, we would have had to dig deep and probably affect other services. And so Measure P was vital in providing us with the flexibility to respond to that need. Our services changed from being largely a animal services where we're handling animal service-related cases and transporting animals to now actually providing shelter and wellness to animals. And then, of course, expanding our service to involve the adoption of animals to prospective pet owners. Next slide, please. And similarly, you'll see a pretty meaningful investment comparing the measurement year of 2019 to now, little over 1.5 million of additional monies from Measure P have been invested in this division to support their expanded services. Next slide, please. And then a breakdown for their calls for service. This kind of highlights the change in the calls for service for that division. You'll see a increase in calls for service of about 13% or 1,569 calls from 2019 to 2024. So you're seeing a pretty steady increase in the demand for their services there. Next slide, please. This highlights the equipment as well that was purchased to support that division. Next slide, please. But beyond the public safety, Measure P wasn't just for public safety. It was also written to be general to provide community services. And so this slide is intended to identify a number of the other areas where we've invested Measure P to provide community support. Victorville Library, which opens next month, has been a beneficiary. Certainly, you've got a number of recreation facilities. And of course, the Wellness Center has been a big benefactor from Measure P. And it's largely because of Measure P, we believe, is why you've seen a decrease in the last year in your homelessness-related counts. And so with that, next slide. I think finally, just want to close this out, obviously saying thank you to the City Council. Thank you for your support. And now that it's been 5 years, I thought it was appropriate that we share with you what's been accomplished, what can be done when the council has the fortitude and the will and the desire to support something such as a measure. And we thought it was important to share with you that with that trust you gave us as staff, we've certainly been able to perform. The results that we've shared with you here, we believe, certainly prove that we've been able to expand and provide improved and enhanced services to the community. And so with that, that's all I have, Madam Mayor. Certainly available for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council review and file the attached public safety plan update.
At this time, we'll do technical questions from council members. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
Yeah, so I noticed that the tax level is pretty stable at 29 million. I thought it would kind of like fluctuate a little more than that with the economy, but it looks like it's performing pretty strong. Is it? I make a question.
So Measure P, coming out of the gate, performed a lot better than we envisioned. Coming out of the gate, we thought Measure P would generate closer to 15 million, and that estimate was based upon the belief that it would track at about 75% of what the general fund was generating from sales tax. But coming out of the gate, that estimate was blown out of the water. We're actually finding that Measure P is tracking closer to 95% of what the sales tax is generating. But of course, coming out of the gate, we've seen a slight downward tick, but that's been consistent with what we've seen with sales tax. Today, we did get some news that our returns are actually improving. We're actually expecting much better over the next quarter. And so So, you know, we see potentially an upward trend, but we've largely been flat to slightly decline over the last few years.
And that question for me wasn't that I think it's not performing. I think as stable as it is a good thing. Do we have a social media, gonna attack this and let people, so people know about the information on this? Because, of course, we all know how one accident means everybody, you know, or one shooting and we're the hood, you know. So I'm wondering if we're gonna attack this on social media so the community and the whole valley knows how good it's going here.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Harriman, and members of the council. You know, I think that's a good question to ask. You know, we've been very forward, very forthcoming, very ahead of the curve in terms of, you know, trying to get the information out there. We believe the information speaks for itself because it's data driven, it's data supported. Will it be challenged? You know, certainly. I mean, you're always going to have those comments out there, and there's always the sensational story, you know, and as disappointing as they are, when they happen, you know, they seem to gravitate to the front of our mind. But, you know, a big part of the reason why we put this forward in front of you is to have it serve as a tool for you, to be able to communicate to the community as well, that we're making some meaningful improvements in the service delivery model that we have. Certainly believe that with expanded resource, we can do even better. On the social media side, it's been very much a priority on the communication side of the house, to where we've highlighted quite regularly the investments. And so, will it be challenged? Sure, but we certainly believe it speaks for itself. I think we're making some meaningful improvements. And had we not had Measure P, I would feel a lot less confident about believing that we've truly enhanced our.
I believe that too. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilwoman Irving?
I don't really have any technical questions, but I'm gonna go ahead and make my comments, okay? Mr. Metzler, I want to say thank you very much for presenting this update. I agree, the data shows that our dollars are working, and Measure P has been very effective in improving life in the city of Victorville. And so I want to say thank you to you and your staff, and to fire and law enforcement, code enforcement, and animal services for doing an outstanding job. As I said before, in education, you know, the data tells the story. And indeed, tonight, thank you for the statistics, because, well, we're doing a great job. Our dollars are working. Thank you.
Councilwoman Godet?
I don't have any questions, but I will also provide my comments. I agree with everything that my fellow council member said. Councilmember Irving, well put. I would also say that I really appreciate the transparency and the accountability. I would also say that stats also prove effectiveness. So we can see from these reports how effective we have been. We have taken the funds and we have used them very strategically. And it shows, especially on the code enforcement side, which may not get all of the attention that they deserve because of the work they do behind the scenes and out boots on the ground. They're not as cute as the fluffy animals that the animal control gets to show off. But I really noticed the impact that they've had within our community, and the efficiency that we've been able to provide these services is really, really, it's just amazing. So impressive is what I have to say on this, and just well done all around, everybody. So thank you.
Councilwoman Mora?
I just have comments and I just want to echo what my fellow council members have said. Thank you very much, staff, for the transparency and really laying it out there in bullet point what we have done with the tax measure. I think it's really important that we can see what the money is going towards and what we're working forward towards as well. So I just really want to thank you for taking the time to put out where things have been over the last almost decade and how they've progressed and increased in services. So thank you.
I'll invite a motion for this item.
Move to adopt staff recommendation as presented on the agenda.
Second.
I have a first by Councilman Godin, a second by Councilwoman Irving. Councilman Godin, comments on the pending motion?
I have none. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Irving, comments on the pending motion?
Thank you.
Yeah. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
Well, yeah, I waited till the appropriate time. Everybody I thought was going to
Okay.
squeeze me out of comment. Well, I also want to say I'm so proud of the city, and I probably am one that call in to code enforcement as much as anybody. So I've noticed just a gauge with flowers getting sold right by my house, that is really dropped off. And that may sound like to some people like, oh, what a stupid remark, but I gauge how busy code compliance is on that type of thing. And so I feel like we're attacking the good things and we're moving right along with the good things. And I think we're the perfect model for the high desert. These other cities better get it together. They need to call our city manager or somebody and find out why we're doing so good.
Yeah, that's what I said.
What's that?
Try to take them.
Anyways, again, I'm real proud of everybody. The fire department and the sheriff and the police department are doing an excellent job. I will say one last thing. I did have a bad circumstance for me, and the police department was right on top of it and took care of it for me. So I would commend the police department, and I think, like you said, our calls, response times, and everything is just moving along really good. So that's all I have.
Councilwoman Mora?
No more comments, thank you.
The only thing I have, let's see what we could do for the roads, Mr. Metzler. Mr. Robinson, 4 more patch trucks, fully loaded, fully staffed. See what we can do. Madam Clerk, will you take the vote, please?
Councilmember Godin,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Councilmember Mora,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We've now taken action to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. Item 22, possible cancellation of the regular city council meeting of March 17th, 2026. Mr. Metzler, will you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. At that meeting, it's currently expected that we won't have a quorum to run this meeting. And so absent a quorum is why this item is for the consideration of the council to actually consider formal cancellation.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
Any action is at the discretion of the city council.
Technical questions from council members. Councilwoman Mora?
None, thank you.
Councilwoman Godin?
None, thank you.
Councilwoman Irving?
No questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
I have none.
I'll invite a motion for this item.
Move to cancel meeting on March 17th.
Second.
I have a first by Councilwoman Godin, a second by Councilwoman Irving. Comments on the pending motion, Councilwoman Godin?
None, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Irving?
Comments.
Councilwoman Mora?
I have none, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
I have none.
Madam Clerk, will you take the vote, please?
Councilmember Godin,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Councilmember Mora,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We've now taken action to cancel March
17th.
meeting. Item 23, discussion and possible action for considering establishing a city-sponsored 5K race event. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman, since this is your item, would you like to provide an introduction?
Yeah. So I think events like this bring the community together, and so all about the youth and that kind of thing. So I really think that our Parks and Rec, Donna can do a fantastic job putting this together for us. So when and where, I'll leave it up to her. But that's I guess all I'll say.
Mr. Metzler, is there anything further you'd like to add?
Nothing further at this time.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
Any action is at the discretion of your honorable city council.
We're going to do technical questions from council members.
To Bob.
To Bob, okay. Councilwoman Godin?
I have none.
Councilwoman Irving?
I do have a question. First of all, I want to say that I'm in support of the 5K race. I only want to know, will it have any impact on the budget? Because it's not considered in our strategic plan. And I know in the past that for such requests, that has been an issue that's been raised. So I don't know who can answer that. I don't foresee it being a problem, but it's a question that I'm asking because in the past that was brought forth regarding the sponsorship for the
Can you
Pride
please ask me that? Is that for, can I
Oh,
answer that?
Well, I'm throwing it out there. Whoever wants to answer can answer.
I'll take it. I'll
Okay,
take it.
take it.
I think we can eliminate a lot of the costs out of our budget with sponsorships.
That sounds like,
And I'll round them up if I have to. But I think there's some, a lot of it'll get funded by some sponsorships.
so let me clarify what I hear you saying. You're saying you're resourceful enough to make it happen.
I am one resourceful person. Yes, I am.
Oh, I need to know you. Okay, that sounds great. Also, I'm guessing that you're going to put this together. Is there an opportunity for a walker?
I'm going to win.
No, I'm going to walk. I am not going to run. I'll walk.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I insist that everybody compete.
You answered my question. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Mr. Mayor
I'll be
Pro
quick.
Tem. Thank you so much.
Councilwoman Mora?
I have no questions, thank you.
Oh, I have a whole bunch.
Oh, boy.
First one's going to start with our risk manager. Have we had any kind of report? The city is going to be responsible for every single person out there. Do we have a location? Do we have an area? Do we have, are we gonna need safety? Fire department's gonna have to be out there. Public Works gonna have to be out there. Parks is gonna have to be out there. Do we have any kind of report that gives me a financial paying of all of those and then where we can have it?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, we don't necessarily have answers for that. And I think that's something ultimately we would like to be able to develop answers to. At this point, it's very initial in trying to understand kind of the vision. And typically, when we consider pursuing something like this, we're definitely going to evaluate, a whole myriad of different options where we can actually attach not only cost to it, but staffing efforts to it as well. As you know, we do a lot of events currently throughout the year, so many that I really need to look at a calendar to understand the magnitude of them. It seems like we're doing something every month at least. And so, I think for us, if it's a desire of the council to at least have an event, we certainly would like to approach it in a planned manner, and we would like to evaluate at least, different concepts, whether that's us taking the lead or us selling sponsorships to take the lead, or perhaps even hire and engage people that actually do this as a business. I think there's a lot of different models that can be looked at. Also would like to look at whether or not it'd be something that we want to tie into an existing event or have it standing alone as a new event. I think if it's appropriate, hearing the desire of the council to want to pursue something like this, I would ask, similar to how we attend to all of our issues, you know, we develop plans for them. I'd like to be able to at least have an opportunity to evaluate all the potential options and at least bring something back to the council for it to consider.
Okay. That in mind, I'll leave my question right there. Mr. Harriman, Mayor Pro Tem Harriman, you're also, not ask questions of yourself, but ask questions of Mr. Metzler?
No, but I would like to make a motion that we give our city manager and staff permission to investigate this and do everything he just said and see if the feasibility and then take it from there.
I'll second your motion there. I have a first by Mayor Pro Tem Harriman, a second by Mayor Becerra. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman, comments on the pending motion?
I have none.
I have none. Councilman Mora?
I have none, thank you.
Councilman Godin?
Just quickly, I would just say that in the 5Ks that I've participated in, typically there's entry fee to do that. And in that entry fee helps probably recover costs that may be incurred by the city. So that's just be a recommendation I would have.
Councilwoman Irving?
No, I don't have any questions.
Madam Clerk, will you take the vote?
Councilmember Godin,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Councilmember Mora,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We've now taken action to advise city staff to move forward on an investigation of this. Is that good?
And feasibility, yes.
Feasibility, there we go. Item 24, city manager's reports. Mr. Metzler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. You can't buy love, but you can adopt it.
Oh, God.
So on the animal services side of the house, join us for our special adoption event, Be My Palantine, at the Victorville Animal Care and Adoption Center on January 31st from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come meet our amazing adoptable pets who are ready to find their forever homes just in time for Valentine's Day. Bring a friend, bring the family, and come fall in love with your new best pal. We hope to see you there. On the code enforcement side of the house, the 2026 point in time count is going to take place Thursday, January 22nd. Victorville will facilitate this one-day survey of sheltered and unsheltered individuals to assess the local homeless population and their characteristics. These results are vital for the city, state, and federal agency to secure funding, guide policy, and develop effective strategies to address homelessness. On the planning side of the house, City of Victorville has received no-cost technical assistance from SBCTA, SBCOG, and SCAG to create objective multifamily design standards. These standards will align the city's zoning ordinance with state law and the general plan's housing element. Following a robust public outreach campaign, these guidelines aim to streamline housing production at no cost to the city. I do have our standard projects of interest list that I will forward to you along with this email. So that you can take a look to see what's in the pipeline and where it is in the pipeline and what projects are taking place. So with that, that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Item 25, discussion and possible action regarding upcoming agenda items. Councilwoman Godin?
I have none.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
I have none.
Councilwoman Irving?
I don't have anything.
Councilwoman Mora?
I have none, thank you.
And I have none. Item 26, reports or comments from council members. Councilwoman Mora?
I just want to kind of say quickly again how impressed I am with staff and all of their reports. It seems like the first council of the year, I get to see everything in review from the year before, everything in the last 5 years, and I just really appreciate the transparency, the thoughtfulness, and really the dedication to detail. So thank you very much, and I'm very much looking forward to working with the staff and our city this year, so thank you.
Councilwoman Godin?
I have none, thank you.
Councilwoman Irving?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I had the opportunity to attend the MLK Peace March. I think it was yesterday. And it was a lovely event. But I want to say something to you, Mayor Becerra. You have exceptionally high EQ, and you are very skilled. You're a great leader because you're skilled at using acknowledgement and recognition to inspire people. Okay, you showed up and showed out yesterday, so I just want to let you know that.
Thank
I
you.
couldn't wait to tell you tonight. Okay,
Yeah, I'll get you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
you're welcome, ma'am.
Mayor Protem Harriman?
Yeah, I'd like to know what what it was. I wasn't there. I went to the concert.
You missed it.
I guess so. Well, I also went to the MLK, MJ, and what was it? MJ and ME?
And me.
ME. And
He
And
sang,
me.
and me?
including yes.
Okay. So anyways, it was a free concert. The band was good. The Performing Arts Center was completely packed. So, and thank you, ma'am. She puts on a great show always. I know you didn't put the show on, but, anyways, that's all I have.
And my comments are to council. Thank you for all what you guys do on a day-to-day and involving yourself with the community and everything. James, I did forget you, but I didn't now. To SCLA, Economic Development and Engineering, your reports are right on. If the public wants to read, that's what they should read, to see where we're going, where we're at, and everything that happens out there. Mr. Robinson, to you and your staff, for everything they did over the Christmas holidays, for the storms and everything, they showed up. I appreciate it. I hope the public appreciates on how safe they kept them. Our streets, yes, are a little more adaptable for storm runoff and everything, but staff still has to be out there to make sure the public is safe. Thank you very much. Tell staff, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm sure the rest of my staff does. The rest of the council does too. Thank you very much. The time is 8:24, and this meeting's adjourned. I'm gonna get you. What? Yeah, there was a guy.